Shannon, who wins Game 5?
The Celtics. Skip, the Heat have cooled off considerably from three. In the regular season, Caleb Martin shot 36%. He's shooting 46% now. Gabe Vincent shot 33%. He's shooting 50% now. Duncan Robinson shot 33%. He's shooting 42% now. Kevin Love was 30%. He's shooting 63% now. You see now all of a sudden, and the script flipped. They took 92 threes through the first 3 games. They made 48% of those. Now you come back to earth, crash land in Game 4. You make 25%. Boston gets back to what they normally do, taking and making threes, and it's a blowout ball game. The question is, can the Heat recreate what they created in the first 3 games, make 48% of their threes, so that means they're getting up at least 30, and they're making 48% of those. Can they continue that trend? I don't believe they can. I believe at some point in time, you are what you are. Now, they're a tough, physical, especially tough-minded team. They play the right way. They get a lot of contribution from a lot of different guys. But, Skip, at the end of the day, if you just look at this thing, and I know you don't play it on paper, but player for player, the Celtics are better. They're just better.
Ain't even close, seriously.
And so, and if I'm Joe Mazzulla, I remind them. You guys are better than them. But for the most part, they just play harder than you do, except for the last game. We outplayed them. Marcus Smart, you got to the ball. Jaylen Brown, you got to the ball. Grant Williams, all of a sudden you made some shots. They started getting contributions where Miami was getting all the contributions from their role player and Jimmy Butler was playing sensational. The Boston Celtics law firm wasn't playing good and they weren't getting any contributions. So I'm going to say they continue this at home tonight. They win Game 5 in convincing fashion. You mentioned it earlier. I said they win more than by 12. They're going to come back for Game 7 and win Game 7.
Okay. To your initial point, clearly and obviously, the Celtics are more talented than the Heat. The Celtics are bigger than the Heat. The Celtics are much deeper than the Heat. Much deeper. The Celtics are, off the regular season, a much better three-point shooting team than the Heat. And maybe, as you just point out with your figures, maybe that we're reverting back to the mean now, and the mean says that, well, the team that's at home tonight, they just shoot it way better from 3, and finally that's starting to prove out. The only thing I warn you about is that the Boston Celtics have lost 5 out of 9 home games so far in this playoff run. So they are 4-5 at home in the playoffs. Over the last 2 years, they're 10-11 at home. So they have lost their home court edge for whatever reason. Their leprechaun, you mentioned leprechaun off the top. They've lost their leprechaun edge. There's no pot of gold at the end of their home rainbow anymore. And I don't understand it. It's almost like sometimes the crowd is so great, it's so loud, it is so excited, it is anticipating greatness so hard and high decibel that you can't live up to it. But like you start to choke under the expectations of your home crowd.
But sometimes you can put too much of your hope and aspirations into the home crowd. And it comes down to you have to give them something to cheer about. Now, you keep turning the ball over and you keep clinking shots. There's nothing. They're waiting. They're like, well, man, we're ready to explode. But if you look at Skip at home, what did the Celtics give them to cheer about?
Okay, so the question at hand is, was Game 4 in Miami basically just a one-night stand for the Celtics? Was it one last hurrah to say, okay, we have enough pride left, we're going to show you we can at least do that? I don't believe that happened. I believe they can carry that momentum into Game 5 at home because they're just clearly the better team. And I think they felt real good about themselves down the stretch of that game because for the first time, they got to see some fear in the Heat's eyes. They got to see some lost cause in the Heat's eyes for the first time where you look, you know how it is. When you trump somebody,
there's some doubt.
There's some doubt in there. They got to see Grant Williams block Jimmy Butler and take the ball, snatch it right out of his face and hold on to it. It was a block and a take and a go. And it was an amazing signature play.
He owed Jimmy for that, though.
Yeah.
After what Jimmy did to him, Skip, he owed it.
Block? I just take it. I took it from you. Really? That's Jimmy Butler. You did that to him after he trolled you on social media? And then, to Grant's credit, he didn't try to fill his ear going up the floor. He just let that speak because that was enough. I know what you did last time I said something to you. I'm leave that alone. Okay. You don't think his teammates love that? I do. Of course. So I believe that tonight will once again be the Celtics' night. I believe they will flex tonight at home, and I think it's going to re-empower you because I think they're going to win big. I'll just tell you a score. I think it'll be 112-92. I think it'll be a big one, like a 20-point romp and stomp, where you will come in here tomorrow and say, we got this. Yeah. I don't know if you're going to wear your Jayson Tatum jersey.
Everybody put out JT, okay? See how I do.
It's out of mothballs because I thought it was a lost cause itself. But the point is, I still believe in my original pre-series pick. I got the Heat in 6. But I got to tell you, Game 6 is going to be a barn burner. Right. Because...
Oh, the Heat know if they lose Game 6, it's going to...
The pressure will be all back on the home team because they'll know we don't want to go back to Boston. Right. Even though they've won 2 games at Boston and they would feel okay about it. But no, this is Game 7.
Yeah, Skip, it's just something about when you come all the way back. I remember the game, the Red Sox, when they chased down the Yankees. Yeah. And I just remember when they got to Game 7, and like Johnny Damon ended it like in the first or second inning when he hit like a grand slam. It was over. Yeah. Skip, I mean, when you lose 1, you're like, okay, hey, all we got to win is 1 guy. Hey, no, let's not panic. And then you lose 2, like, hey, guys, bro, we got this game at home. This is us. We got this one.
Agreed.
And then you lose that. We like, oh, man, hold on. Nobody has ever done this. And then Game 7, that team took the Red Sox took the lead, and it was over. Okay. So you get to a Game 7, Skip, and you was down 0-3. Can you imagine the confidence that the Celtics will have and the disappointment and the angst and the tightness that the Heat will have?
No, I can't. And no, I don't want to. But I think it's going to come to that. And yet, I'll say it again. No team I have ever closely observed through playoffs is more dependent on one single player than this team is on him. Yeah. And I'm talking about, Shannon, on everything involved in being the best player. Leadership, tone setting, playmaking. He is a point guard. He is a shooting guard. He is a small forward. He is their best defensive player. He always, when somebody gets hot, he says, I got it. Let me take him. He took Jalen Brunson down the stretch of the big turnaround, the game-ending, against the Knicks. You're asking a lot. And he tends to hit the wall a little bit. And I don't know if it's physically or just mentally, because the burden he is carrying is huge. So my point is, can he bounce back and have like an all-time game? Because here's the X factor for me. You are a big Jayson Tatum fan. I've never been quite sold. I love him off the court. I think you want to talk about face of a franchise. He's like the opposite of Ja. I trust everything about Jayson Tatum. I love his on-court interviews after they win or lose because he's just great. He's soulful and he's just so willing. He's so forthcoming with all of his emotions and thoughts. But man, he's a roller coaster ride as a superstar. And yet, Shannon, we have yet to have a Jayson Tatum breakout kind of game in this series. He did that, and then remember Game 7 against Philly. He went completely haywire from wall to wall, wire to wire. Okay, so he hasn't done that yet in this series. I got a feeling tonight's going to be his night. Right. And once he does start to feel it, he's incredibly streaky hot, streaky cold, because he can go streaky, clanky, cold.
But the thing is, Skip, as you mentioned, he can be streaky, hot, and cold, but he's a guy that can sustain 3, 4, 5 games where he's streaky hot.
Yeah, he can.
And shoot you out the building.
He has the ability to make history. Right. And we're going to go deeper into this in a few minutes, so I don't want to go too far now. But he alone, of all the players on the floor tonight, he has the nuclear capability to turn this series on its head and to do a Red Sox on the Yankees. He can bring you from 0-3 down. Right. but he's going to have to sustain because one of these nights, Jimmy will go playoff Jimmy.
Right.
And then you're going to have to counter it and cancel it because the truth is, let's be honest, who's the better player right here, right now, Jayson Tatum or Jimmy Butler? Well, obviously Jayson is. He's first-team All-NBA. All right? Jimmy didn't even make the All-Star team. He did make second-team All-NBA, which is interesting. And he would make first-team All-Playoffs because he's been the MVP of the playoffs, unless you want to argue Joker or whatever.
Jamal Murray.
Or one of those two. Yeah. But this guy, he is their reason for being. And then he had one of his quote-unquote off nights the other night, especially in the third quarter. The reason for the 18-0 run is he couldn't stop the bleeding.
Right.
He missed 6 straight shots. And you know and I know some of those little pull-ups.
Yeah, that's his bread and butter shot, too.
These are like 6, 8-foot shots. It's kind of who he is and what he does. And if he can make them like clockwork, you are in trouble because he'll just 2-point you to death. He's their worst 3-point shooter.
Yes.
But
then once he gets it going, he becomes one of their better 3-point shooters.
Okay, well, but that doesn't happen. Mainly, he's a 2-point shooter.
Yes.
And he's a lane creator. And once he gets in your kitchen, he kicks it here, he kicks it there.
Or he draws the foul because he still, even though Skip, they got blown out, he shot 12 free throws the other night.
Okay, that's a winning total. And by the way, after they got annihilated on the boards during their big game in Game 3. In Game 4, they righted the wrong.
Right.
They won the backboards, right?
Yep.
Okay, and they won the offensive glass, which what's Pat Riley famed for saying? No rebounds, no rings.
Yep.
Okay, well, somehow they got rebounds and they got no rings, right? So
they got rebounds and got no win.
They didn't look like a ring team to
exactly.
me. So the big picture is I think Jayson Tatum's going to have a big night. I think the soul searching is going to start late tonight, flight back to Miami. They're just going to have to reach down and say, how do we recreate the chemistry, the culture, the identity that we have? Because this team, they know the Celtics are better than them, but they're the better basketball team and the better basketball culture. They're the better coached only because Joe Mazzulla is in his first year and Eric Spoelstra's been there a long time. And he has the ultimate coach of the coach in Pat Riley. And you don't think Pat's fingerprints are all over this team and all over the game plans, right? So I'm going Celtics big, and I'm sticking with Heat and 6.
Celtics and 7.
Okay, you're getting there. You're leaning. Yesterday you were a 2% chance.
2%.
Yeah.
I need tonight. Tonight's gonna tell me everything. Then I'm gonna be on whole milk.
Okay. All right.
Thanks for watching, Undisputed fans. Subscribe here to get the very latest from Skip and Shannon. Plus, go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.